G'day guys, it's John from theproductivegarden.com, and today we're going to be installing a clothesline. Now, the video that I showed you the other day that you would have seen recently with me transplanting the palm tree, the reason I had to transplant that palm tree was to make way for the clothesline because the clothesline was going to hit it. So now we're going to be putting in the clothesline. Now, to install the clothesline, of course you'll need a clothesline. We'll see that a little bit later on. The clothesline we've got is a removable one, so I need a sleeve that goes in the ground, and that's what cements into the ground that the clothesline slips into. So you need one of these sleeves. You'll also need some concrete to hold the clothesline in place, and we also need some gravel which needs to go into the bottom of the hole to provide for drainage. Okay, now I've already dug the hole here. Now I've made the hole a bit bigger at the top so I can put some more cement in so that it'll provide a mass to be able to hold the clothesline nice and still. Now this hole, as you'll see when I put this two-handled shovel down, is pretty deep. I've made it pretty deep because I want a good, nice deep hole and plenty of room to put that gravel in so you get good drainage away. Now, when I dig a hole for something like a post, which a clothesline essentially is, I use a two-handled shovel. I just find it a lot easier than a conventional shovel just to dig a hole nice and straight down. Okay, and what it also saves you doing is getting a hole that's sort of like a wedge. So two-handled shovels, definitely good to have in your collection of tools to be able to dig holes for posts and those sorts of things. Okay, now what we need to do, we need to put the gravel down first. So I'll put some gravel down in the hole. Now I'll place the sleeve in place. I'm going to push it down into the gravel a bit. I want to get it to a place where it's reasonably close to the top of the soil, and I'll just put a little bit more gravel in there just to hold it in place a bit. Okay, that'll do. Okay, now that I've got it in place, I'll just move some of this gravel around. Okay, now that I've got it in place, I've got to mix some concrete and make sure I get this all level and then put the concrete in. So we'll come back in a second and we'll put the concrete in the hole, and I'll show you how I make sure that this is nice and level so that the clothesline is going to be nice and straight. Okay, now I've got some concrete mixed. Now the concrete I've used has been like pre-mixed bagged concrete that you just break open the bag. It's all mixed in with sand and aggregate, and you just mix it with water. Not ready set concrete or rapid set concrete because I don't think that gives you a stronger concrete as just normal run-of-the-mill concrete. I think the rapid set just gives you a weaker concrete. Now before I put any concrete in, I'm going to put some plastic over the top of the sleeve. Now the reason I'm doing this is I don't want any concrete to go inside the sleeve and then make it impossible for me to put the clothesline in. So to prevent that from happening, I'll put this plastic over the top. Okay, now that'll stop any cement or concrete going into the sleeve. Now what I do need to do, I'll just make sure it's reasonably level now. I'll have to check it again when I put the concrete in, when I'm finished putting the concrete in, but I'll just check it now just to make sure that we can get it reasonably level. Now what you need to do is you need to check across one way, and then you need to go at right angles and make sure it's also level that way as well. That'll make sure it's level this way and level this way as well, because if you just get this one level, that means, yeah, fine, it'll be up and down this way, but it could be pointing one way or the other. If you do the right angles, then you'll make sure that it's absolutely straight up and down. Okay, so we've got it pretty close. We'll get it absolutely right when we get the concrete in. Okay, that's pretty close there. Now we'll put the concrete in reasonably carefully. Rightio, now what I'm going to do is, near the edge, I'm just going to shape it up towards the top of the sleeve. And the reason you want this to be shaped like this is so that water falls away from the top, so that when it does rain, you're not having it pooling and running down into the sleeve. It's going to run down away from the sleeve. Before I shape too much, I've got the basic shape there. I'm just going to check my level and just make sure I've got it nice and level. Righto, that way's good. Okay, so we've got the level set just nicely. Just try and shape this up a bit more. Righto, now I'm pretty happy with that. Now what we need to do is we need to leave this to set, and we're going to leave it for about a day. Okay, so we'll come back in a day's time when this is set, and then we'll show you how you put the clothesline in and lock it in place. Okay, now before I leave this to set, one thing I do want to do is I just want to put this is an old washing machine tub which we use for campfires and stuff like that. I just want to put that carefully over the top, just to make sure nobody accidentally trips over it or steps on it or something like that. And the other thing you need to do is, when you are working with concrete, as soon as you're finished, make sure you wash your tools, or you'll have this concrete stuck to your tools for a long time. You'll make it very hard to wash. So I better go off and wash these things now, and we'll see you in a day. Alright, now it's actually been a couple of days because I've been busy the last few days, so I haven't been able to get onto it the very next day, but the concrete's well and truly set. So what we have to do now is just cut this plastic off. So I'll cut that off. I'll just trim this so it looks reasonably neat. So we've got the plastic trimmed off there. Now all we have to do is insert the clothesline into the sleeve. Okay, now this clothesline here is a rotary clothesline. It's one that's pretty typical of clotheslines in Australia, and this is one that you can fold up and put it away, and obviously when you're using it, it's all folded out. So we'll put this into the hole. Now on here we've got two lugs here that line up with some holes in the sleeve. So we'll make sure we get them lined up. Okay, so that's in the hole, in the sleeve, and then this here slips in and just clips in place, and that holds the clothesline nice and firm. Now I just have to make sure I've got this tied up so it doesn't come undone by itself. If I don't hang myself. Okay, now one thing, when you are putting these up, it can be a little bit easier if you actually, before you put it in to the sleeve, if you put it upside down and you can push the thing down. This one being a bit older, on a new one, it should be fine, especially if the clothesline itself isn't woven onto here. It'll be pretty easy to put this up. But if you've got an older one that you're reinstalling, then it can be easier just to put it upside down, push it down and clip it in place when you unfold it, and then to put it into the hole. Right, it's going to be great to have a clothesline that we can hang our washing on again, and until next time...
Here's the washing.
Oh, great. Oh, happy productive gardening. I better get this hung out now. Bye.